Incredible flavours, even better stories. One pour, 10 minutes. Aussie bourbon lovers sharing bourbon with Australia.
Oh, there was no pop.
It was a silent pop. It's a brand new bottle.
Oh, there was no pop at all.
Do you want to try it again or something? Is it broken? Well, it's better.
Still, I broke the pop. What are we drinking, Dave?
This is an Elijah Craig Kentucky Straight Rye. So Elijah Craig, so Heaven Hill, in these beautiful bottles that we do so love with the big chunky cork.
They're beautiful.
And it's the Kentucky Straight Rye expression. So the green sticker, the bottom there. Here you go. Cheers, H.
Cheers.
And why are we having this one tonight?
Well, because it was my turn to pick off the shelf. And last night we missed out on going to an amazing bar called Goodwater. And they were serving, they'd just brought out a barrel proof pick of an Elijah Craig. And so I was like, I feel like an Elijah Craig tonight.
Yeah.
That's why I picked it off the shelf.
Super. And then we went through what's on the shelf of what's the Elijah Craigs we have. And we've done a lot of the episodes already. So it was... This was
like down the line. We're like, well, this one, nope, this one done, this one done. But this is the Straight Rye. And tell me, Dave, because sometimes it's a rye, sometimes it's a wheat whiskey. What does it mean by Straight Rye?
So this is a Kentucky Straight Rye.
Yeah.
And it's one of the, there's so many things that don't really mean very much. Just like small batch doesn't really mean that much. You can have a massive batch.
Well, it varies depending on the...
Well, you can kind of say whatever you want about it. To be a Kentucky Straight Rye or a Kentucky Straight Bourbon, it needs to be Kentucky Straight means it needs to be made in Kentucky.
Yep.
Straight Rye means it needs to be aged at least 2 years. And if it is less than 4 years, you need to have the age on the bottle. And in this case, it doesn't have it, so we know it's at least 4 years old.
It's older than 4 years.
And there's no age statement. So 94 proof, 47%.
Yep.
And it's got a mash bill that is pleasing to me as someone who drinks bourbon drinking a rye.
Yeah, you love an Elijah Craig.
What are you getting on the nose, H? Let's do this one.
Oh.
Delicious?
Yeah.
You love delicious. I'm getting aniseed there.
I'm going to say cherries.
It's not like I'm nosing absinthe, but it's like there's just like an interesting note of that.
It's got a very, I'm getting like a
little bit of that mint, bit of white chocolate,
mint.
But lots of vanilla and caramel. Like it's a really...
That's a really nice nose. What are you getting on the palate there, Dave? What's it tasting today?
What is it tasting today?
Yeah.
Are you baking up new expressions? What's going on?
No.
It's good. I like this. This is an easygoing rye for me. And I was reading before that the mash bill is 51% rye, 35% corn, 14% malted barley.
Yeah.
Which means that it's the kind of the nickname for that is that it's a barely legal rye. You're right at the cusp of not being able to call it a rye.
It doesn't have the heat of some of the ryes.
Majority.
That's very easy drinking.
Well, I still get that spice. Like I still get a nice bit of kind of spiciness from it. I took some ryes to my parents' place over the weekend for Easter actually, and poured my dad an Archie Rose, so an Australian rye.
Yep.
And he thought it was crazy high proof because of the spice that comes from the rye, which is just a fun experiment, right? So what we did was we poured, that was a Michter's Kentucky style rye. So we don't know what the mash bill is, but we assume it's similar to this, right? Yeah. Which is this barely legal thing, or like there's a lot of corn in it. It's not much rye. And then we went to the Archie Rose, and I don't know the mash bill, but I think it's like 95.5 or it might be 100% rye. Like it's a big rye.
Yeah.
And you get that incredible amount of pepper, grassy, minty heat.
Well, I was going to say, I get the kind of nice peppery heat on this without getting that burn, because sometimes it's like when you have a rye, often it's like hits you in the face a bit. Whereas this is really easy drinking, but still you got that little bit of rye pepper.
So they don't put an age statement on it, but there's kind of this thing where the Elijah Craig kind of brand is known for really aging really well, and maybe not even, there's people speculate about how old it could be or that kind of thing. But the amount of barrel influence, like to me, the vanilla on that, like the vanilla and carameliness, makes me think this is had like a good, and I'm guessing, you'll never know, I guess.
Yeah.
Like 7 or 8 years or something in the barrel, and it's like a lovely.
It's impressive.
Kind of yummy bourbon-y kind of.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No. I was going to say the Goodwater guys, they got the one they barrel picked is an 11-month one. I love that they can be so specific because they talk about which warehouse it's from and what year it is.
Well, this is so good, isn't it? When you do a barrel pick, you know exactly what the barrel is and exactly kind of how old it is.
But I kind of think like this one, it's amazing, tastes delicious. But like to not have an age statement on it, the only clue you kind of have is it's older than 4 years.
Well, I suppose that's true, isn't it? But does it really matter? That's that fun thing of like, do you really want to be drinking all stuff? I think because Elijah Craig is the one where I think they've just announced a 21-year-old. They're going to release a 21-year-old expression. Wow. And we've got an 18-year. And I already think that's over, more oak than I want.
The new
anyway.
one, yeah. Well, and also too, you can put an age statement on a bottle, but it depends on what warehouse it's aged in too. Because if it's a small warehouse that, heats up, cools down a lot, it can almost get too old and too oaky. But then some of them it might like get that same rich flavour in a shorter amount of years. So
but beyond that, obviously all of this is carefully done, and they're not giving any top the rack and none of them are coming from the top.
No,
racks
but I'm
of
just
the
saying
warehouse
like the in one warehouse that's small, like a 5-year-old might be very similar to like an 8-year-old in a larger warehouse, or like it kind of the age is a number, but it all comes down to which ones you like and what flavours you like.
So, interestingly, they only introduced this in 2019. So, this is actually a really new product. And rye is having
Straight Rye?
Yeah, the Straight Rye. So, it's one of these things where, rye's been around for a while. And I've just finished the Tom Bullitt book, his autobiography. And he talks about, being such a big rye fan. And his bourbons were so rye heavy anyway, but he released the rye. And this thing where you'll notice on our shelf, I don't know if it's every single one, but almost all of our ryes will have the green on the bottle as a way to differentiate it. And that actually came from Bullitt, which is quite interesting.
Wow, there you go. Because we weren't huge
Elijah's.
Rye drinkers when we first started. I think it was the heat or something that we were a little bit they weren't our favourite thing. And I just remember last year's Kentucky Bourbon Festival when we were doing different tastings or blind tastings, or like we really favoured a lot of the ryes, and I was just like,
it's a funny thing, isn't it? I feel like it's one of those things where when you're early on, when you're first starting to drink bourbons and you kind of know what you like, and maybe in my case with these big sweet, marshmallowy, vanilla-y, caramelly, like a dessert in a glass.
Yeah.
And then someone says, here, try a rye. And particularly if it's a big 95.5 or like something that's like really grassy, or sometimes you go, well, I don't like that. That's not, it's like a, I went and had some whiskies with a friend the other day, and he gave me some scotches and a peated Scotch. I don't like it. I don't want to drink any more of that.
Yeah.
I understand why you do, but I don't want to. And so you get that experience of it. But then as you kind of try more bourbons and kind of, I suppose, expand your comfort zone of what you like drinking.
Yep.
And you try something like this, which is that barely legal, it's not far off. If you flick the ratios over and you had 51% corn, 35% rye, well, there's, the ratios aren't that far off, and you've got a really nice bourbon.
Yeah, but this is a beautiful rye. Like, this is, I think it is anyway. It's like really easy drinking, really delicious.
And it's kind of like, it's a bit like a kind of gateway rye, I think, because you kind of go, I could easily swap out of, if I'm having a couple of different bourbons or whatever, I could swap a rye in. It's just something with a little bit of spiciness.
Yeah.
Good bit of fun.
And I think the one thing that Heaven Hill does is like they have so many different versions. Like you've got straight ryes and single barrels and small, like they're a huge range, and that you can put them all and compare them to each other.
Absolutely.
That's a lot of fun.
Do you remember the story about who Elijah Craig is and why that's...
He's the one that they call the father of bourbon, and they claim that they were the first ones to toast barrels.
Right. He's one of the many origin stories. And I
love all the great origin stories. Sorting fact from fiction is fun, but I love that this is it is such a great story.
Yeah. And I think, in the year 2026, we kind of like look at the stories and hear, if you've got enough kind of going on in terms of knowing some of the history, it's like, it's fun that you've used that name to kind of brand your bourbon. But, everyone's got their own view on what the true history or where the origins of bourbon were. So this is just one of the stories.
But I love that they've used that, that story and that history, and then they've named the bourbon after him.
And the distinct bottle, I think one of the things that I love about this one is that it's crazy easy to get in Australia, crazy good value. And if you're looking
delicious.
It is really good. And if you're looking for if you like Elijah Craig already, if you haven't had it, you should have some. Get some on your shelf. The small batch Kentucky straight bourbon. But then if you want to kind of branch out and try rye without going too crazy, have a go at this.
It's definitely a good rye.
Well, here's to trying some more good rye. No, that didn't work at all.
It didn't work at all, Dave.
Should we do a different ending?
Just like drink more Elijah Craig and find the one that you like.
Yeah, okay. Drink it how you like it.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you're connected with us on TikTok, Instagram and YouTube, and stay connected with us by clicking subscribe on your favourite podcast app.